Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. Democrat Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump head to North Carolina as Election Day nears. Trump says the 5th of November will be Liberation Day. Kamala Harris appears on Saturday Night Live. Spain grapples with the aftermath of the deadliest ever flooding. Spain's King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia visit worst affected areas in Valencia region. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez accompanies the royals during their visit. And Moldovans vote in a decisive second round of presidential elections. Pro-Western incumbent Maia Sandu faces Alexander Stoianov, backed by pro-Russian Socialist Party. First up, let's get you all the latest on the US presidential polls 2024 as the race to the White House nears the finish line. Now, both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have been campaigning in North Carolina on the final weekend before the 5th of November polls. It was the fourth day in a row that the candidates campaigned in the same state. Republican Donald Trump campaigned in both North Carolina, a key swing state, and Virginia on Saturday, where he reinforced his message on the economy and immigration. Trump, at his final rally of the day in North Carolina, told voters that the Tuesday election will be Liberation Day in America.
The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. On November 5th, 2024, this will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be Liberation.
And later, addressing a rally in Virginia's Salem, Trump said he ran for office to rescue the economy from obliteration. Trump also addressed trans issues and vowed to protect parents' rights in the Virginia rally. North Carolina backed Trump in 2020 by a narrow margin of less than 1.5 percentage points and elected a Democratic governor on the same day, giving hope to both the parties. And Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris began her North Carolina rally by attacking Donald Trump, which she has increasingly done in the final days of the election campaign. Harry at a rally zeroed in on women's reproductive rights, warning that Trump will ban abortion nationwide. Harris also pledged to lower health care costs and accused Trump of wanting to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Earlier, campaigning in Atlanta, Harris said Trump would abuse his power if he returns to the White House.
Donald Trump is not done. He would ban abortion nationwide. He would restrict access to birth control. He would put IVF treatments at risk and, get this, force states to monitor women's pregnancies. Just Google Project 2025, which still I can't believe they put in writing. And I think everyone here knows one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government shouldn't be telling her what to do. Not the government and not Donald Trump.
And the day also saw Kamala Harris appearing on the Saturday Night Live TV comedy show, adding a surprise element to the US presidential election just 3 days before her showdown with Donald Trump. Harris portrayed herself appearing as a mirror opposite of the actor who plays her on the show, Maya Rudolph, who was nervously preparing for a campaign speech. Dressed identically in a black suit and pearls, the two traded variations on Harris's first name, saying Americans want to end the Dramala in politics with a cool new step, Kamala. They also said, keep Kamala. Now, U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has surpassed Donald Trump in a new poll in Iowa. The poll of 808 people that is likely voters who were surveyed between the 28th to the 31st of October has Harris leading Trump 47 to 44% in Iowa, which is a key swing state, which has been trending deeply Republican in recent years. It is within the 3.4 percentage point margin of error, but it marked a turnaround from a September Iowa poll that had Trump with a 4-point lead. Trump won Iowa in his past two presidential campaigns by more than 9 percentage points in 2016 and 8 points in 2020. More than 75 million Americans have already cast their ballots, according to the election lab in the University of Florida, in a sign of voter enthusiasm. Also now, days before the presidential elections in the U.S., thousands of women in Washington, D.C. marched towards the White House to demonstrate in favor of legal abortion and support for Democratic candidate Kamala Harris. Women, energized by calls for a change in equality, and chanted slogans in support of reproductive rights. Vice President Harris has made abortion rights a central plank of her White House bid against Republican Donald Trump. The event featured speeches from prominent activists emphasizing a future free from domination and violence against women. Now, the U.S. is all set to elect its new president, but what does that vitriolic campaigning season say about the racial dynamics in American politics? How far has the nation come since the civil rights movement of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh engages with various stakeholders to decode this issue.
We are traveling through the U.S. to cover the presidential elections. We are here in Atlanta. America today presents itself as a beacon of hope, as the greatest democracy in the world, but it was not always the land of equality and freedom. Till 1960s and 70s, racial segregation was a reality. And then came Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and he said, I have a dream.
The dream of equality and freedom from the scourge of racial violence and discrimination. Dr. King led a non-violent movement in the late 1950s and 60s to achieve legal equality for African Americans in the United States.
In the 12 years or so that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led the American civil rights movement, they say that the African Americans made more progress than they did in the past 3 centuries. But now it's 2024 and time for US presidential elections. We want to understand what is the place for racism in US politics.
We visit some early voting centers in Atlanta to talk to voters.
As a Black woman within America, I feel that it is my right to do my vote. As we all know, we are living in a country that was built on us, but not for us.
Race is not a major issue here, although at least one of the parties likes to make it one because their support is bigger in that base.
The United States of 2024 is far more racially diverse nation than America of the 1950s, but the vitriolic campaigning shows diversity and discrimination can exist at the same time.
Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Still today, we see big disparities. African Americans, Asian Americans, and Latino Americans vote at lower rates and have lower socioeconomic advancement than the white population.
Should I deny it completely? No, I'm not. I'm being realistic. That there is there, but we made significant progress, especially in USA. We made significant progress. Imagine having an African American president for not once, 2 terms, and now another lady is running for the highest office in this country.
The presidential campaign this year has been one of the most polarized ones. It remains to be seen if the outcome will heal the divisions or open old wounds. Shubhendu Ghosh's report for DD India, Atlanta.
we'll keep getting you all the latest from the US as far as the presidential election is concerned. Now let's move on. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Primary schools shut in Lahore for a week due to unprecedented air pollution. The US deploys a strategic bomber for joint air drills with South Korea and Japan following North Korea's ICBM launch. And Team India slumped to a historic low in a 3-match home test series against New Zealand.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, in response to North Korea's latest long-range missile test, South Korea, Japan and the United States on Sunday conducted a joint air drill involving a heavy bomber. The drill mobilized the US's B-1B bomber, South Korea's F-15K and KF-16 fighter jets and Japan's F-2 jets. The B-1B Lancer is a supersonic heavy bomber known for its high-speed performance with a payload of 34,000 kilograms of munitions, including both conventional and precision-guided weapons. The exercise took place 3 days after Pyongyang launched one of its most powerful and advanced solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missiles, which experts say could reach targets in mainland US. Taiwan has detected 37 Chinese fighter jets, drones and other aircraft near its island on Sunday as Beijing carried out long-distance training flights. China has ramped up its military activity around Taiwan in recent years as Beijing pressures Taipei to accept its claims of sovereignty over the island. 35 Chinese aircraft were spotted crossing the median line of the Taiwan Strait, which separates mainland China and Taiwan, and entered Taiwanese airspace on their way to the Western Pacific Ocean. Taiwan's military responded by deploying aircraft, naval vessels and shore-based missile systems. The devastating floods in Spain's Valencia have killed more than 200 people and have left a trail of destruction after torrential rains swept the eastern region of the city. Spain's King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia on Sunday visited the area impacted by severe flooding. The royals were accompanied by Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. Earlier, Spain's Prime Minister held a crisis meeting with his cabinet in Moncloa Palace. Describing the worst natural disaster, Pedro Sanchez said it was the second deadliest flood in Europe this century. Cleanup and rescue efforts continue throughout the day on Sunday. Spain is carrying out its largest deployment of army and security forces personnel. Authorities in the Valencia region have restricted access to roads for 2 days to allow emergency services to carry out search, rescue and logistics operations more effectively. And the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has also said the government would provide the necessary resources. The government is sending 5,000 more army troops to help with searches and cleanup, in addition to 2,500 soldiers already deployed. Moldovans headed to the polls on Sunday for a presidential election marked by allegations of foreign interference and the potential for Moscow to regain influence just as the country seeks closer ties with the European Union. Pro-EU incumbent Maia Sandu, who's been steering Moldova away from Russia's influence, faces a challenge from Alexander Stoyanoglu, a former prosecutor general with support from a traditionally pro-Russian Socialist Party. The election's outcome is likely to shape the political landscape ahead of the parliamentary election scheduled for next summer.
Today, more than ever, we have to be united to keep the pace, to protect our vote, to protect our independence. The thieves want to buy a vote, the thieves want to buy a country, but the power of the people is infinitely greater than any of their foul play.
And the opposing candidate, Alexander Stoiloglu, denied having any involvement with Russia.
I have no relations with the Kremlin, nor with the representatives of other states, nor with the special services. And if you've been observing until now, no information has appeared that I am a person that has such interest. I am a person who will promote only the interests of the Republic of Moldova.
Now, clashes between the Bolivian authorities and former President of Bolivia, Evo Morales, continue to escalate as the Foreign Ministry said that Morales' supporters have held at least 200 military personnel hostage in Chapare. This comes after Morales' supporters began blocking roads for weeks in Cochabamba to prevent his arrest. Evo Morales has been accused of rape and human trafficking charges. On Friday, after Morales' announcement that he would undertake a hunger strike unless the government agreed to negotiations, he urged his supporters to consider suspending the roadblocks. Morales and current President Luis Arce have gone from close allies to bitter rivals in recent months as they jockey for position ahead of next year's presidential election. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shanker is on a 5-day visit to Australia and Singapore. The minister reached Brisbane, where he interacted with the Indian community in the third largest Australian city. He said that India and Australia share a long history in trade and economy.
Our relationship, in a way, has just begun. That there are immense possibilities, that we have today, treat these 10 years as a foundation. This is a foundation which all of you and all of us together have to build on. We see in every domain, the manner in which our defense collaboration has grown in the last decade has been really very impressive. There are a number of occasions where our military work together very closely, and the extent today of the cooperation is something we couldn't have even imagined 5-10 years ago.
In Bangladesh, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has called on the daily Amar Desh editor Mahmoodur Rahman to seek an apology, apologize to the nation within the next 7 days following his controversial and baseless remarks about the organization. Addressing a press conference, ISKCON leaders expressed their concerns about Mahmoodur Rahman's remarks. The leaders alleged that Rahman's remarks had not only harmed ISKCON but also posed a threat to religious harmony, tolerance and social unity in Bangladesh. Meanwhile, Adani Power has given Bangladesh an ultimatum to settle an outstanding payment of nearly $850 million by the 7th of November or risk a complete halt of electricity supply. The initial 31st of October deadline was missed by Bangladesh Power Development Board, which cited a dollar shortage amid attempts to issue an LC through Krishna Bank. Pakistan's second largest city of Lahore, I believe it's the largest city of Pakistan, the schools there, the primary schools there are facing closure now for a week due to record pollution. The air quality index, which measures a range of pollutants, exceeded 1,000 on Saturday. Authorities said on Sunday that measures have been taken to avoid exposure to smog at dangerous levels. Government offices and private companies have halved their staff and have asked them to work from home starting Monday. According to the weather agency, the forecast for the next 6 days shows that wind patterns will remain the same and no change can really be expected. Let's talk sports now. And New Zealand completed an unprecedented 3-0 series sweep in India as the Black Caps secured a 25-run victory in the third test in Mumbai. The hosts were dismissed for 121 on a tricky wicket on day 3 of the match. The last time India were blanked at home was in 2000 in a 2-match series against South Africa. Rishabh Pant was the lone Indian batsman to show resistance as he made a sublime 64. Man of the match, Ajaz Patel claimed 6 wickets for 57 runs, his second 5-wicket haul in the match. Fellow spinner Glenn Phillips took 3 wickets for 42 runs. After the defeat, India have lost their top spot in the World Test Championship standings and dropped to second place. Now Australia holds the top position. India's Malvika Bansod has marched into the final of the Hilo Open badminton tournament in Saarbrücken city of Germany. Malvika will face Danish opponent Mia Dishfeld in the title clash on Sunday. It will be Bansod's second ever final appearance on the Badminton World Federation World Tour. Earlier, she had finished runners-up to PV Sindhu in the Syed Modi International Tournament. Bansod secured stunning win over Danish shuttler Julie Dowell Jacobsen in the semi-finals. She's been in good form this year. She won the Azerbaijan International in February and reached the US Open semi-finals in June. India clinched 3 gold and as many silver medals on the final day of the Under-19 World Boxing Championships in Colorado in the United States. In the female 65 kg category, Parthavi Grewal trounced the Netherlands' Arya Hoppema in the final to clinch the gold. Vanshika Goswami emerged triumphant in the female 80+ kg category final against Germany's Victoria Gatt. Meanwhile, Hemant Sangwan became India's only gold medalist in the men's segment on the final day. India's 19-member boxing contingent wrapped up their campaign after winning 17 medals, which include 4 golds, 8 silvers and 5 bronze medals. India's Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, congratulated the boxers. He posted on X, and I quote, "Proud of our young boxers who've delivered a stellar performance at the inaugural Under-19 World Boxing Championships in Colorado, USA, bringing home a total of 17 medals, an extraordinary feat on the global stage with 4 golds, 8 silver, 5 bronze. It gives me great happiness to share that 11 of the 17 medals have been won by Khelo India athletes, 8 of whom also train at SAI's National Centre of Excellence across the country. I congratulate all the winners for their success, a testament to their hard work and the support from our coaches and training centres." And India's Atanu Das won the bronze medal in the men's recurve event at the Swiss Open Archery competition in Lausanne City in Switzerland. Atanu's bronze proved to be India's only medal from the event, while Deepika Kumari and the other Indian compound archers drew a blank. Atanu Das beat Tokyo Olympics champion Mete Gazoz of Turkey in the quarterfinals before losing in the semis to French archer Romain Fichet. In the medal contest, the Indian archer beat Switzerland's Thomas Rufer 6-4 to land on the podium. The 7th edition of the Marrakesh Air Show 2024 was held at the Marrakesh Military Air Base in Morocco, showcasing innovations in aeronautics and space technology. This year's event includes aerial demonstrations and an exhibition featuring aircraft, helicopters and prototypes, highlighting the North African country's growing role in the global aerospace industry.
That was the venerable Tiki. يمكن أن نلاحظ مهارة الطيارين والدقة في الأداء.
And that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download the app now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.